Hello, hello, and welcome to Live at 5, the virtual launch for the Daily Grind. Whatever reason you're here, we're glad you're here. And we are ready to celebrate and have some fun. We're going to do things a little differently tonight. But it's gonna be fun. So I'm gonna see who else here. If you're here, let me know in the chat. Looks like Melissa's here and needs sprints tonight. That's okay. We're gonna have a little different schedule. We'll talk about that in a second, but we do have sprints coming tonight. And Angela does need to. Hey, Phoenix, here to celebrate thank you so much, Phoenix. Thank you so much. And the launch of an excellent book. Thank you so much. Here it is. Maybe I can. I just deleted my face. Here it is. Okay, I've got the copy here. We'll put it in chat. In fact, I'm going to do it now. Here's the link to the ebook. And of course, you can hop over to the paperback copy too. And if you guys want the link to the signed copy directly from me, that is in the description box as well. So thank you, Phoenix. Thank you for being here. Thank you for celebrating with us. Hi to Phoenix from Angela. I'm sorry. I think I need okay, maybe that's better. But thank you, Angela. It is a great book, Phoenix. You're right. Thank you so much. And hi back to Angela. So ready to write tonight? What scene? I'm not sure. We'll see. Good deal. Well, if you need to mute me at any time so you can get some work done, absolutely feel free to do that. We've got a little bit of a different schedule here tonight, and we're just going to go with it. So, as requested, this is launch week. We are having the launch party on Thursday, 2 nights from now at Urban Foxes in Jackson. And so if you haven't seen those details, they are all over Instagram, and I can post them here too. But let me know if you need them. So Angela's eating chili. Internet is not an issue tonight, I hope, but let me know if it's still an issue coming in. Must fuel up for all the writing. Hello, Morningstar. Welcome. Hey to Morningstar. Hey back to Phoenix. Hey, Morningstar. Hey, Jaleesa. I love you too. Come visit me Thursday night. We're partying. But yes, we should. I should. Hello to Angela and Jaleesa. And we are ready to celebrate. I'm so excited. Yeah, I'm actually doing everything from my computer tonight so I can control the video. But we're working with what we got. So hey, I'm finally back live. Here we go. Much better visual tonight. Good. Hi to Morningstar Angela. Look at that background. I know. Because it's not even fun to see what it really is. All right. Hey, Pam. How are you? Hey, Phoenix. So ready to celebrate you in the Daily Grind. Thank you so much. You're so sweet. Thank you for being here. Here's my link, the link to the ebook. If you need it again, there is one in the chat. It may not be the same exact link, but there's a link in the chat. In the description box too. So the link didn't work. Let's try this link. Maybe because it didn't. Because I ran it all together. Oops. Link isn't working. Try again. Hi, Annie. Welcome. Hi. Wish I could be there for you. I know. We all wish we could be here. in person to celebrate everything, but that's why we're having a virtual launch tonight. So bear with us if we're going, okay, go grab your coffee. We're working out technical issues. Hey, Julie, welcome, welcome. Once I get to the bottom of these comments, hey, Julie, did I miss Collective? No, we canceled for November. I thought I sent an email out, double check. The next one is December 1st. I just had too much going on the first week in November to do that. So check your email, double check. It has snowflake emojis. Hi. Okay, that was the link again. Okay, this worked. It was just that it ran together with the text. Hi to Angela. New link works. Excellent, 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 excellent. And there's the Amazon link, signed copies link. Wonderful. Thank you, Angela. It's not even that bad. It's just there's a light here and a weird kind of cut off. I don't know. It's just, but you're right. It's not piles of laundry, which it could be too. So, or various other things that are in our backgrounds. That's what I always worry about is like, see, there's a light over here somewhere. There it is. And it's distracting to me to see it on camera. So, weekend was super busy for me. Hey to Phoenix and newbies, Annie, Angelisa. Hey, Katrina, welcome. So glad you could be here. And yeah, this is a good time to say, don't forget to like and subscribe if you want more writing sprints in your life, if you want more reading and more books and all that good stuff. We're going to talk a lot about that tonight. So you might do with the laundry. Yeah, right. I think that's everybody. And hey to Julie. Okay, I've gotten to the bottom of the comments. I'm going to start. Actually, I'm going to give it 2 minutes. And I'm going to say, I'm going to give a little shameless plug for, I'm going to disappear again. The Daily Grind. There it is. There's my book. Book number 3. I'm pretty excited about it. It has been out about a month now. It is live on Amazon, has been live on Amazon about a month now, a few days shy of a month. So sales are welcome. I am having a virtual launch party day after tomorrow, in Jackson, Mississippi. And if you are, if you are anywhere near there, you are welcome to come to Urban Foxes in Jackson, celebrate, get a signed copy, have some pie. There's going to be some amazing music that is arranged and selected just for me. I'm going to I have a couple of requests for special things there. I have a couple giveaways, this kind of thing. So this is going to be a lot of fun too. So, oh, great. Morningstar got the ebook. Fantastic. It's fantastic. It's great. Great. Thank you. Hi to Katrina. And so exciting. Yes. Hi to Julie. And sounds like fun for your launch. Okay. So if you never fear, if you're coming Thursday night, there will be a completely different reading from the Daily Grind on that night. So without further ado, I'm going to start and give you, it's about perfect timing. So here is the reading portion of the evening starting, and then at the top of the hour, I have an interview that I will play. And then anytime we have leftover in between these things, we're going to sprint. And then, of course, at 7 o'clock, we will do a dedicated sprint for the final push of the hour. So that is the plan for the evening. So, for those who haven't read it yet, set aside a block of time. It's a perfect one sitting read. I agree, Phoenix. Thank you so much. Thank you for that high praise. Okay, so the book is laid out in a very interesting way. It's first of all, it's broken up into the time of day. So I'm going to read you this portion is from the morning. It is at the first character portion that is in the morning. His name is Ace. This is 8:19 a.m. He is drinking black coffee with cream and lots of sugar. So this is the first character of the morning, Ace. Ace looked up as the door opened, setting the bell jingling. It was no one he knew. Of course it was no one he knew. It hadn't been anyone he knew, not once in the 2 hours he'd been here. Still, he could not focus. Ace shifted in his seat, a boxy armchair facing the window, with the view of the door, and flipped his book over in his lap. He crossed his ankles, then uncrossed them, bent his knees, then straightened them again when they started to bounce up and down. He shifted again, sipped his coffee, and tried to relax. He was being paranoid. Maybe all this coffee was making him jittery. It was hard to get comfortable, his knees almost in his armpits, sitting in the low chair, his large frame overfilling it. Ace repositioned again and went back to his book. There was no possibility of taking a walk that day. He read the first line over and over. No possibility. The words mocked him. The daily grind wasn't exactly the best place to hide, and Ace wasn't hiding exactly, but he was avoiding certain people, mostly teammates, other students, and fans. But fans were everywhere. So, okay, he was avoiding mostly everyone. He couldn't have anyone he knew see him reading Jane Eyre for the third time. Not that they would know it was his third time, but even holding the book gave him an exposed feeling. He matched the scenery here because he was reading, and there were always people reading, but he didn't blend in. We had been wandering indeed. Ace didn't blend in anywhere but where he stood out. On the court, in the locker room, on the bench, where his long limbs, big hands, and enormous feet were an advantage, not an embarrassment, where his stature and uniform proclaimed him one of the heroes, where the bright lights, the squeak of sneakers, and the smell of sweat and something feral replaced his everyday senses and shifted him seamlessly into the zone. People from all over knew his name, his position, his stats. Thanks to televised games, Ace could be sure to get pointers from strangers nearly every day between the games. If he had a place, it was the basketball court. In the leafless shrubbery, an hour in the morning. Out of uniform, Ace was just another black boy, and he felt it. He knew it. Others made sure he did. He could sense their looks, their constant scrutiny, their waiting, the watching for him to slip up, do something, what? He didn't know. Unforgivable? His being seemed to draw attention when he least expected or needed it. He felt their fear, adults of every color, as if they sensed in him a power at which he could only guess. He was big, he was black, he was male. That made him a threat to, well, everyone, it seemed. Ace was aware, and had been since middle school, of his unnatural, unusual, and rapidly increasing size. There was no stunting it, so he leaned into it, but he was accused of being too aggressive. He didn't know how to hold himself with confidence without looming over everyone around him. He didn't know how to balance pride in his heritage and culture with the fear he struck so instinctively in others. It was confusing and very often angered him. He was young, but he felt the weight of generations of hate. He felt it every day, except when it came to basketball. In uniform, he was not only accepted, but revered. The crowd cheered, stomped, and chanted. The cheerleaders thrust their pom-poms into the air, grinning. The refs, coach, team, even the mascot clapped, slapped his back and butt, hollered, and screamed, wild about him. When Ace stepped into that place, sank into his zone, and engaged the mechanism, he was one of the gods. He was an excellent player, talented, dedicated, but humble, and he had something akin to star status, at least in the college basketball world. For Ace, that meant travel, special privileges in his classes, and never, ever being alone. But since dinner, the team did everything together, even in the off season. Ate together, played together, slept and woke at the same times. Everything, it seemed to Ace, happened with other people around. He was constantly surrounded, yet he was lonely. Mrs. Reed, when there was no company, dined early. He had been lonely before. Now he didn't know what he was. Scared, anxious, afraid, the right word landed. Trepidatious, a recent addition to his vocabulary. Ace took another sip of cooling coffee. He didn't like coffee, but drank it anyway to stay welcome and awake. He doctored it with enough cream and sugar to make it palatable, but mask the bitter taste, to keep from ordering the more expensive blends he would have preferred. He could barely afford the coffee and the reading time as it was. He had scholarships aplenty, but not a lot of free spending cash. His alone time was nil. He never realized how little he had until he wanted to do something with it. So, sneaking out of his dorm before 6 on a Saturday morning made him feel ridiculous, but that was the only time he could get away without someone asking where he was off to or offering to join him. The cold winter had brought with it clouds so somber. Ace looked up again as the bell rang. No one he knew. Of course not. No one he knew. His knees started bouncing again, and he put the coffee cup down and checked his phone. His parents were coming to visit. As a senior, Ace got the royal treatment for his family anytime they came into town. They'd get a full tour and all the perks the program could offer. They'd be here at the Daily Grind in less than an hour. He was meeting them for lunch and an important conversation. They only knew about the lunch. Ace thought reading would distract him, but it was only giving him more to worry about. Would they be able to tell that everything had changed? How would he tell them? What would they say? He couldn't keep up this charade forever. His grades would slip or his practice would get stale. Something would give. It was already almost too much. This was his last chance, and if he didn't say something now, he knew he never would. He wanted so badly to tell them, to share what he'd discovered. Reading, books, literature. It wasn't as if he'd never read before. He'd been reading for classes his whole life. Ace was a decent student, not stellar, but above average. The balls that academia threw at him were fairly low and easy to catch. He had been an athlete from middle school all through high school and his undergraduate years. The draft was ahead of him, and he had every chance of placing early. He would have already faced it, except his mother wanted him to finish his education, and Ace loved college. He would have to face it now. Unless Ace returned to his book. Clouds so somber and a rain so penetrating, unless he ruined it all. A rain so penetrating. Ace frequently puzzled how he made it through high school and college without reading a single book. He thought he would have remembered someone handing him a story. Of all the birthdays, Christmases, and classes, not a single book. It seemed impossible, but there it was. Now he soaked up stories like a sponge. It was in a class, though not really for the class, that he had started to love reading. The class was Beowulf to the Bard and Beyond, an overview of English literature for remedial students, a summer class he had to make up for an elective credit he had missed in the previous season. Most of the students had complained daily and vocally about reading all this old stuff, but Ace loved it. He loved the epic battles, the adventures, and yes, even the love scenes. It felt like knowledge, true knowledge, under the surface of humdrum reality. Through the class, he discovered there were many more great books he'd never known existed. He surreptitiously did his research, which consisted of a single incognito Google search. What books should I read? Google did not disappoint, but returned list after list. The best books ever written, best of the 20th century, best for this and best for that and best for the other. Ace was overwhelmed, but started at the top. Many on the list had been part of his curriculum or suggested for further reading. He skipped these and went straight for the ones he didn't recognize. He read rapidly, often on his phone, but paused to look up words. He no longer remembered which source insisted he read Jane Eyre. A rain so penetrating. He'd gone to the computer lab and Googled her, found an online version, and had been spellbound ever since. Why that book? He didn't know. He only knew that he had been lonely, and now he didn't feel so lonely anymore. Of all the things, a book about a white woman. Ace knew as much about white women as he knew about Martians, mostly convinced that they existed in a universe so far outside his own experience that he could only gawk. Ace felt this way about most women, but he could bring himself to speak a little to those who matched his skin tone or close to it. White women scared him, though he certainly wouldn't be admitting that to anyone. Not to mention, this one lived so long ago that further outdoor exercise was now out of the question. He didn't know what connected them, but the strictures of her world did not seem so far removed from the strictures of his. He understood her. Over and over, he returned to her story, her plight, another new word he'd learned, as often as he could. He thought about her all the time. He wanted to read again and again how she moved through her world, encountered and slew her demons, and clung to the idea of love. He felt himself swept away by stories in general, but this one in particular had captured him. All he wanted to do was read, and when he didn't know what to read, he returned to this book. This book, his only book, the one he found on a free cart outside the library. He'd already read Jane Eyre on his phone and was a quarter through it again when he found it. He still couldn't believe his luck. A faded brown volume with an elaborate portrait frame on the cover. Inside the frame was a white woman's profile, and in the distance, a blurry mounted figure, the suggestion of a grand house and a multitude of flowers. It convinced Ace of what he'd long suspected. He'd fallen in love with a girl book. He pocketed the little brown volume without a word and didn't examine it until later, alone in his room. The pages were thin and fragile, Some of them were coming unglued, and in places, Ace could see through them. The ink was old and smudged, but the contents were still perfectly legible. The story was exactly the same. Jane was the early outcast, Helen Burns the martyred innocent. Oh, how he'd wept. And Rochester was still the perfect idiot. The book was now the only possession that Ace cared about, but hiding it was getting difficult. Now out of the question. Ace hadn't anticipated how much time it took to read for pleasure and how little time he had to himself, not to mention where to find the books he couldn't read for free online. These things had never bothered him before. Study time was built into the team's routine, and he had only ever been an average student. Now that he wanted to read all the time, he was neglecting his other studies, not to mention he didn't want his teammates to know. He didn't know why. If it was fear of their ridicule, he thought he could take it. Still, he kept the secret. His roommate thought he had a secret girlfriend and mocked him plenty for that. It was easier to take than the truth, Ace thought. He'd been caught one time reading in the library. He'd covered well, saying he was reading for a class, which was almost true, but the team was close enough that any of the other players could have known his schedule if they'd wanted. No, the library was a minefield. He could only fake a class so many times. So he came to the Daily Grind. When Ace found the Daily Grind, he'd been lost. Late for a physical, he'd ducked in to ask directions and seen all the readers. He made a mental note and came back the next Saturday. His first free moment without company. He'd been back every Saturday since. The team knew his parents were in town this weekend, so there was no need to hide why he was leaving, but still he did. He got up well before his roommate, showered, grabbed his hidden book, and crept out of the dorm. Out of the question. Thinking about his mom and stepdad distracted him again. He wanted to tell them what he'd discovered. There were whole degree programs centered around reading, and he wanted to pursue one of them. Play out his college career, but avoid the draft. Start over or go to grad school. That's what he wanted to tell them. They would be shocked, he knew. Maybe too shocked. Out of the question. Ace couldn't sit still anymore. He closed his book and set about finishing the contents of his smiley face coffee mug. He thought he might have time for one more cup before they got here, or he could return the mug and use the restroom. Movement out of the corner of his eye caught Ace's attention, but it was only one of the laptop people taking a sip. She was watching him, the lady in the blue sweater. Could she tell what he was reading? Ace caught her eye and she smiled. He returned the smile and felt his neck grow hot, so he looked away. There were plenty of other people on laptops, as well as readers of different stripes. Most appeared to be students, Ace thought, and the more conscientious of the breed, up early on a Saturday to get the most out of their week. The one guy to his right looked even more nervous than Ace felt. The man was on a laptop. His fingernails were bitten down to the quick, and he tapped nervously on the table and the keyboard. He appeared to be sweating through his clothes, even in the mild weather and the AC inside. The man's knees pumped up and down as if he were about to propel out of his seat. It wasn't just the jumpy knees that had attracted Ace's attention. He thought the guy looked familiar. Ace tried to get a better look without obviously staring, but settled for quick sideways glances. It was hard to tell if the man was okay. After a few surreptitious looks, Ace had decided he had seen the man here before. Here at the Daily Grind. Ace felt himself mirror the nervous knee pumping, but stopped and stretched his legs out again. He wondered if the man had seen what he was reading or remembered him from last week. Ace tried to make himself small, but there was no hope of that. The least he could do was not attract attention. Some old men were joking at a table behind him. Their laughter rang out. The espresso machine churned. One song faded into the other. Ace put his book into his shorts pocket and wiped his hands along the chair's bumpy arms. It gave him a feeling of calm, but he stopped because he didn't want to look weird. He watched the clock. He checked his phone. Ace's stomach gurgled, the result, he knew, of too much coffee without food. He was antsy, no longer sure this was the best place to meet his parents. It was no secret they were depending on him going pro. They didn't make a lot of money and had sacrificed a lot for him over the years, always making sure he was in the best programs and got the best scholarships to attend the best schools and more. He knew they were waiting to put their feet up once our boy, as they called him, though he certainly was not, hit it big. Ace missed his dad. He missed his dad most days, but on certain days he felt he could almost reach his dad on the other side of whatever lay between them. This was one of those days, and Ace could feel his dad urging the boy to tell his secret. But to whom? It wouldn't have been a problem if Ace's dad had still been alive. Ace was convinced his hero would have remained so all through his teenage years and beyond. Ace saw so many of his teammates struggle with the weight of their father's ambitions, and he grew jealous. He was under the same kind of pressure, but it was from the man who had married his mother. It wasn't that his mother or his stepdad, who was a wonderful fellow and treated Ace as his own, didn't understand. They didn't know and couldn't possibly understand. He was afraid of letting them down, of telling them their boy was not going to support them in Cadillac fashion for their golden years, of the destruction of their future that he preferred not to destroy. If only they hadn't been so obvious with their greed. His hard work, dedication, and talent had gotten him where he was, no question, but Ace did not doubt that without his stepdad especially, he still would have had the drive to see success. Until this. While Ace felt most comfortable on the court, he felt the most paradoxical, uncomfortable joy when he picked up a story, any story, but especially this one. While he had previously felt the zone in that one particular place, he now felt it everywhere he could read. While the team were his brothers, they were not his friends. His dad had been his best friend, and like Helen was Jane's. Ace's dad, he was convinced, would have understood his son's passion and encouraged it, maybe even before the senior year of college. Ace had already researched the catalog. He thought he could still graduate with his health and human performance degree while taking more classes in the language and literature and playing ball as a fifth-year senior. He had no idea what this would cost, but he had qualified for sports scholarships, so he figured they were out there for every department. All he would need to do would be to find a few. He wasn't a good writer, but he knew if he could write a paper on Jane Eyre, he could face any entrance requirements, and he was willing to work. His basketball career proved that. All he needed to do was convince his parents and talk to his advisor and coach, and the thing would be done. Ace couldn't bring himself to make this decision without them, but he didn't know how they'd react. He regretted picking such an obviously literary place. What if his stepdad got loud? The man could be heard all through the gym when Ace played. He'd been cheering Ace on since the day he first handed Ace a basketball. Ace had gone by a different name then, a more sophisticated name his parents had given him, but since the day with the basketball, he'd been Ace. By then, Ace's dad had been gone a few years, 3 or 4. He couldn't remember exactly anymore, and it no longer mattered. Long enough that he saw his mother needed someone, and he never begrudged her dating. He didn't know how long his stepdad had been around when she introduced them, but Ace had known somehow from the beginning this would be the man to raise him. He took the basketball and made 3 effortless baskets in a row before remembering to thank the man for the gift and offering him a turn. His future stepdad looked down at him with some mixture of bewilderment and awe. "You're an Ace," he said, and the name stuck. Even Ace's mother now called him Ace. His real name, like his dad, was all but forgotten in another life. Ace shook off the memory as he drained his cup. He was tempted to get another, but he was already bouncing his knee uncontrollably and figured more caffeine was the last thing he needed. He checked his phone. He checked the clock. They'd be here any minute. And that's Ace. Excuse me a second while I clear. All right. That is the the first section of the morning. And I have plenty of time. So I'm going to go back to the comments real quick, but that is the first section of the morning. So if you're at all intrigued by that, that's just the very beginning. It's not the beginning of the book, but it's the beginning of the coffee shop. So I also want to answer any questions you guys have about Ace. He has a big backstory, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but I am willing to answer anything about his state of mind or thinking or questions that you might have that are confusing about the part I just read. So thank you for hanging with me. Again, bear with. Thank you for that. All right, let me go back up here to where I left off and say, okay, that was Phoenix's comment. Thank you. Angela agreed. Thank you. Jaleesa says, wow, beautiful. Thank you, friend. Thank you so much. Melissa made it. Yay. Party. Hi to Melissa. Happy to see you here. Happy book launch day. Can't believe it's already here. I know, right? Can't believe it. I'll do another plug here real quick for the in-person launch party is at Urban Foxes in Jackson, Mississippi, which is just a Google search away, just like Ace did. And so we would love to have you. If you are in the area, the more the merrier. I will have books. They will have pie. We will have some amazing music. It's going to be a fun time. I'm going to read a different section, maybe 2, than what I read tonight. So you won't be repeating anything and I won't be spoiling anything. So that's how it's going to go on Thursday. Hi to Phoenix. Yay. Ace's caffeine dilemma at the coffee shop had the same dilemma just 2 hours ago. Yeah, understood. Yes, understood. Thanks, Phoenix. Your bookshop launch is this Thursday. That is correct. It is at, I'm going to drop the link because I can. Urban Foxes. And we're going to copy the link and I'm going to drop it in the chat because it's a cool place. So there are your directions. It is Thursday, November 6th from 6 to 8 p.m. So that's why we're doing the virtual tonight in case you can't be there. But if you can be there, come one, come all. We will love to have you. So Phoenix will be there in spirit. Thank you. And Morningstar says hi to Melissa. Hearing that excerpt makes me wish I had a Reese's peanut butter frappuccino with ice cream. Yum. That sounds amazing. That sounds amazing. So there's the link to Urban Foxes, where we will be having the in-person lunch party. But tonight, if you're here, you're getting a sneak peek. But check it out. They're super cute. And yeah, that love the logo for sure. This is the time and when we're going to do it. Hi to Morningstar. The link works fantastic. That is a nice cafe. Cute. Thank you. It's one of those that like I have that I had in mind that when I wrote is places like that. So there's the daily grind in spirit, and Jaleesa is going to be there in spirit. Thank you so much. I love the support. I appreciate it. And absolutely, I'm sorry, I have a cowlick or something is happening with my hair. Thank you, Katrina. I so appreciate it. I know, I understand. And yes, it's adorable and it's going to be so much fun. And you guys can spread the word on Instagram for sure. They need all the love they can get, and I need all the love I can get. So there's going to be a post every day on Instagram that you can share. And yes, I know I owe it to you. I need to mail it to you so I can actually get it to you. And that is my priority this week, is to get those actually to the launch location and to the post office. So stay on me about it. All right. Well, looks like we have 15 minutes to the top of the hour. So why don't we do a quick sprint? At the top of the hour, I'll come back. I'll introduce the interview a little bit to kind of tell you what we're doing. If anybody has any questions about ACE or about the process, now's the time to drop them. While I get this banner changed, we will do a productivity sprint till the top of the hour, and I will take that out, and I'll stop talking so that those of you who came here to work, oh, send it back with Aaron. Yeah. Okay. Great idea. Yes. So I'm sorry that I didn't get it to you at the retreat. I meant to. So happy sprinting. We will chat at the top of the hour. You've got just over 15 minutes because not this one, but I've got it in mind for sure. For sure. All right. I will talk to you guys at the top. See you then. Okay, welcome back. Let's do a quick check-in and see how you did in that 15 minutes or so. And then we'll get to the next portion of our evening, which is my daily grind interview. So I'm super excited about it. Again, if you need to work, feel free to mute and come back to the replay later. But the questions are really good. And I think that if you're at all interested, there are no spoilers. So feel free to listen, even if you haven't read the book yet. Which, by the way, shameless plug for Kindle Unlimited, it is limited time before it's off Kindle Unlimited. So if you're a Kindle Unlimited subscriber, reader, person, whatever, read it while I get paid by the page, finish it, and then decide if you want to buy a copy for your library. So plug for that. Let's see what else we got here. Ooh, Julie's at 6:56 for the day. Sounds great. Any other updates we want to share? Ow. What did y'all think of Ace? What did you think of the reading? Should I read my own audiobooks? We start that journey next year with Goodbye, rebranding, and all that good stuff. So let me know what you think. I am interested in your opinion always. So again, plug for the daily grind. I put the copy away. I can't reach it. Okay. So plug for the daily grind. Let me see what I have. Oh, that's Urban Foxes. Plug for Urban Foxes. And plug for Kindle Unlimited. Everything you need to know is in the description box or in the chat. Scroll up. So it is almost time. I'm going to go ahead and get it prepped. We are going to add it to the stage. And I am going to...
Welcome.
Oops, nope, not yet. Not yet. Apparently I can't just... add it without it playing. So we will wait one more minute. Okay. Then I will go. Are we ready? We ready? It's time. Fantastic, Angela. Fantastic. All right, here we go. I'm going to mute. Mute.
I am interviewing Lindsay Ewing and about her newest book, The Daily Grind. And I put on my Facebook post today, if you like coffee, if you like people watching, if you like the color yellow and coffee shops, you will love this book. And so I'm so excited to be talking with Lindsay. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, I have a few questions about your book. The first question is, well, I don't know. So the first question would be, this book is very character driven. And so that's not a question, but my question is, how did you intertwine the characters' lives in the book? And did you know they were going to intertwine from the very beginning?
I did know they were going to intertwine from the very beginning. The author section came to me fairly early on, and I wanted to know what she was doing. And so it sort of almost worked backwards, and I don't want to spoil anything, but all the characters kind of sprang from one place. And then they started talking to each other and developed their own little ways of being and talking to me. And then they just begged to be put down on paper. So I started with a handful and then worked my way backwards and expanded. So all the characters that you see in the Daily Grind did not start there. They started more or less in the evening. And so then when I realized I only had half a book, I had to fill in the rest of the clock. And so I had to figure out who else was there at the Daily Grind earlier in the day and what were they thinking and what were they doing and how were they going to point to the characters later in the novel and how are they going to interact and intertwine with those characters. So a little bit of both. They started intertwined, but they became more intertwined as the process went on.
I love that. It reminds me of your other book, Variations on the Themes of Goodbye. Did I say that right?
Yes.
So that book was, I mean, you blew my mind the way you intertwined the characters on that one too. So if you read the Daily Grind and like,
thank you.
Get Variations on the Themes of Goodbye by Lindsay. So also the way you set up your book, I mean, were you thinking about the schedule of a coffee shop as you like created the pace of the book and the structure of your book?
In a way, the rhythms of a coffee shop are always there. So the espresso machine is there in almost every story. The conversations and the things that are going on in the background in any coffee shop were kind of always going to be there and always present. The purpose was that you would never forget you were in a coffee shop, that you would always be looking at other people around you and saying, okay, what's going on with them? Who are these people that are sitting here doing interesting things or not so interesting things? What's on their mind and what are they dealing with on an internal level?
I love that. So the setting, the coffee shop in the book, is that set or based on a real coffee shop? Is there a location we could go sit in?
It's based, I wish there was. The title came from an actual coffee shop in Iowa when I lived there. And it was a regular coffee shop. It was, not a Starbucks. And so that's kind of like where the idea came from, was just an idea of a cafe or a coffee shop that's not necessarily franchised, but that is operating in a small college town where they serve all kinds of people all the time from various walks of life. And so I wish it were a real place, but it's kind of an amalgamation of many real places, of coffee shops that I've liked and of the kinds of things that I want to see in a coffee shop when I go in, and the kind of atmosphere I want to be in. So it was 3 parts imagination, 1 part inspiration.
I love that. And that's the feel that I got from it. In the book, also, your characters each have their own drink order that you've listed on the first page of their character sheet. So just to stay in line with that, I want to share my drink today, which is from our local coffee shop, The Sip, here in French Camp, Mississippi. A little commercial there, but it's local. And I'm drinking, it was caramel apple latte with almond milk. So it's really yummy.
Nice.
And it's a nice fall flavor.
Yes.
It pairs well with your book. It's a nice fall book.
Excellent. So, caramel apple lattes pair well.
So
that sounds delicious.
Do you have a favorite coffee drink?
I'm mostly just a black coffee drinker. I do have my sweeteners and flavors that I go to when I go to iced coffee. It's usually some other kind of milk and some flavor, but plain black coffee is usually what I drink. And I like to think that all the characters have a drink that I would drink or that I have drunk. And they might not fit with my personality, but they fit with the character's personality. I'm thinking of Kai in particular with the matcha. And I'm not a big matcha fan, but I know some people love it. And so it fits them and where they are, as well as what's going on in the coffee shop. So I hope there's plenty of variety in the drinks, but also in the personalities that they reflect.
Definitely. So the characters were very different. You did not do any cookie cutter characters, just like the people that maybe you sit and watch in a coffee shop are very different. Did you have a character that
Right.
you related to, that you connected with really well, or were most sympathetic to?
I think, well, Otis is my favorite because he was the most challenging to write. But I think my sympathies lie with Amanda the most. I think she was the first character that I wrote, and her struggle of, a crush on someone that you don't really know very well, that you've seen from across the room, and you've developed this idea of the kind of person they are and what they're like, but you don't really know. And so all the adventures of a young college sophomore who's finding love for the first time. And I thought she's kind of the heart. She's actually, I think, dead center of the book too. And so like her struggle seemed to me to be the most, I don't know the word, not real, because they're all real, but the immediate, maybe, is that her struggle with she's thrown this party to invite this guy that she doesn't even know that if she likes him, but she's, just upheaved her whole world for this thing, and she's not even sure of the outcome. So I thought that was very brave, and I thought that was very relatable too, to a lot of people that are, when they first have a crush on somebody, the things they're willing to do and put up with in order to show that person how they feel. So I think she's my darling.
I love it. And any age, we have those
Yes.
things. We can always look back and remember, or if we're younger, we can look, toward it and go, oh, girl, I'll probably do the same thing.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, so I was going to ask about the title, but you kind of covered that, where the title came from.
Yeah, it came back to me. It was the title of a coffee shop that I really went to. And I've seen it as the title of a coffee shop in a couple of other places. But the title came to me as like, I knew it was going to be a coffee shop. I knew it was going to have, at the time, I think it was 10 people that were going to be running around and doing stuff around this coffee shop. But I didn't have a title for the book or for the coffee shop. And so as I was going back through all these characters and their struggles and their dreams and wondering what connects them, what all combines them. And of course it is the daily grind that we get up and we do stuff every day, that are motivated by various things. And we encounter other people that are also doing their best, motivated by their other things. And so it's all a daily, if not struggle, then at least, a process that happens every day in every place. So I thought when it came to me, like, of course it's called the daily grind, that it was just like it had always been that way. It is based on a real place or a couple of real places, but it's suited perfectly to the book, and just what's happening there. So I'm glad you like it.
Yes, it does. It fits perfectly. So on your characters, you've got people from all walks of life, all 19 of your characters, and yet they come across very authentic and real. You have not done stereotypes at all. It's very authentic. Have any of their situations come out of you writing about personal adventures that you've had, or how did you get into your characters' heads to write them?
Many of them, if not all of them, are a part of me, like they always are. And I may not have had all the struggles that they've had, but I've been through something similar to what they're dealing with at the moment, and good or bad. And so I wanted to include both the exciting and the happy and the, adventurous, with the less than exciting, not as much fun things that we deal with on a daily basis too. And so there was a lot of asking what if, there was a lot of asking what would it look like this person is doing versus what are they actually doing. And that comes across more in the beginning of the book, I think, with Ace and Theo, that there's a very real sense of, you think you know what's going on before you do. And that's kind of speaks to the snap judgments we make about people that we see all the time. We think they're up to a certain thing, or that they're, involved in various activities, and really they're just trying to get through like the rest of us. So I think it all came from that place of like, what could these characters at various ages, races, genders, what is their biggest breakthrough moment and how can I push it? So there was a lot of what if, there was a lot of how can I make this, appear to be maybe not to get you interested, and then lay out the real story where the character and the characters told their own stories. I really feel like I can't take a lot of credit for that because they just kind of showed up and said, this is where I am. How would you represent me? You know, and it's the weirdest process because it feels like 100% inspiration, but at the same time, like I did some of this. I did some of the developing and some of the work involved in putting
Right.
them down. So I don't know if that answered your question, but it was a little it was a process for sure.
And getting to know our characters is a process for writers. And it is weird to talk about, but sometimes they do take over while we're writing. And so it's fun to hear another writer talk about that.
Yeah.
So who would you say your book is
It's written for everyone, which is just the pat answer, but it's written for anyone who thinks they're alone. And I'm gonna get teary. It's for someone who is maybe obsessing with the details and not really registering what the sea change that's going on underneath. And that's the biggest thing I wanted for the book was for someone to recognize themselves in a character. And then the next thing I wanted was for them to empathize with someone they wouldn't normally empathize with. So whether that's a person of a different gender or life station or, circumstance, I wanted them to say, I've felt that before. I know what that feels like to either be under the weight of parents' expectations or a spouse or society. Those things weigh on us all differently. And mostly for readers to see themselves in a character or two and say, I know that person. I've been there. And to maybe find some comfort in that, but also a challenge to say, what are we looking at? What are the assumptions we're making about people? And where's the heart of where we actually connect and interact with each other? Where is that point and what makes it, I guess? Because several of the characters interact with each other, some of them compassionately and some of them not, but they're all dealing with their own things too. And so I guess that was the main push, is to say, you're not alone. I want you to have this experience with someone else that's like you, but I also want you to have this experience with someone who's not like you so that you understand that everyone is coming from the same place.
I love that. So in that same vein, what would you want your readers to do when they sit in a coffee shop and look around after reading your book? What is your hope that they would do?
After reading my book, I hope that they will be more curious. I hope that they will be more compassionate and more aware just of the other people. And, the lady that's in front of you that turns around and steps on your foot, she's got something going on too, or that rather than to be so quick to judge or quick to assume what motives are, that we actually take a moment and go, okay, they're probably dealing with something that I have no idea about. And it could be life-changing. We don't know,
Right.
And so I kind of put each of these characters in a potential life-changing situation to see what they would do. And for the most part, they played along admirably. They told me exactly what they wanted and what was going to be the thing that was going to get them there.
That is funny. Well, do you have a favorite line or section of the book that just was going to stay with you even when you go on to your next project?
Yes, the author, and she's me, and it was fun to write myself into a book. It was a lot of fun. So I want to keep her perspective and her thoughts, and she does a lot of back and forth mentally, and we all do, but especially writers, I think, with this calling and what we're supposed to be doing and what that looks like on a day-to-day basis. And I've struggled with that. I know other writers struggle with it. And so I kind of let it be a statement to say, everybody that does a job shows up and does it. But some jobs don't have a sort of list of instructions on how to do it. You just have to do it. And so I think that's the part I think that I'll keep with me is like her attitude of I have to keep doing the thing to keep doing the thing. And using that reminder that it may not work every day, it may not work every week, but eventually something will come out of it if you stay persistent. And keeping her attitude of, at one point she struggles with whether or not she should go back to a job she hates. We've all been there. But there's a point in there too that's like, if I do go back to the job I hate, what am I losing? What am I giving up? And we have to make those decisions too. That's part of her struggle is, am I going to make this a thing? Am I going to keep doing this? And it's a decision, it's a choice, just like all the other characters have a choice they have to make. They're either going to step out of their comfort zone and do the thing that will make them happy, or they're not. And so I think keeping her in mind and keeping that this is a process, it's always a process, and it's not always going to look good. It's a messy process a lot of the times. And so kind of keeping my head up and keeping that memory of I can create a story. I just have to wait for it or do the work that's entailed to make it happen. I can't just sit around and wait for a book to appear in my hands. I have to actually write it. And so she's in a way my favorite too, because she's me. But it was good to sort of idealize her too and say, or at least separate her from myself and say, what is she really struggling with? What is the real problem? And is it just finishing? Because it really is, and there's a point at which you have to decide, I'm going to do this. And then you have to do it to make it happen. So yeah, that I want to keep.
I love that. How long did it take you to write this book?
About 10 years from start to finish. So I'm trying to remember, I think it was 2015 or 2014 that I started or maybe 16, that I started the original draft. So it's been a process, and it's gone through a lot of iterations in that process too. So it takes some time, but it's worth it.
So the authors need to keep pushing to finish. The author in the book kind of encapsulated that struggle of you just to finish it, to get to get the book written. Wow.
Right. Because we all have ideas, and we all have, various levels of writers anyway, have drafts and notes and, all kinds of paperwork. And, that process itself can be never ending of just creating and organizing and restating and redoing. But at some point you have to call it done.
Right. And that statement goes perfectly with my next question. It goes perfectly with my next question. You, on a daily basis, you are an editor. So you help people get it done. You help people.
I do.
With your clients, you go from being stuck. You help people go from being stuck to being done. And I love that.
Being done.
Yes. So what's your official tagline?
It is the offer statement, I think, is I help writers go from stuck to done so they can get their words out there, publish a book, be a bestseller, get their legacy out there, whatever is important to them to, and a lot of times it's the first one. When you get the first one done, then it's like, oh, that's how you do it. And so then you just do it after that. It's not that easy, but it's, I think there's something to having a completed work that you can say, okay, now I know the whole process. I know what the whole process looks like. And editing and redrafting and all that stuff is part of it. So I guess if I have any encouragement, it's that there is a point at which it's done, and you may not recognize it if you're so into the weeds of making everything perfect. It's not, the daily grind is not perfect. And I'm sure it's got some issue. I'm sure it's got issues outside the ones I know of, but in order for someone to read it, you have to finish it.
Right. Yes. And I would say,
I think that's our purpose, is to write it, to finish it so other people can read it.
I agree with that. Yes. And that is a superpower you have, is helping people get from being stuck to moving toward their goals.
Yeah.
So
thank you.
Did you find it hard to switch back and forth between like your clients, working with your clients and editing, and then switching over to you being the writer, working on with your voice and your writing.
It is difficult sometimes. I've made my own writing a priority in the last few years, and that has helped to have dedicated time that I work on my stuff. And then, so when the Daily Grind was coming out, I had another client that was going through the editorial process, trying to finish to get it submitted to an agent, and another editing job that was just at the very beginning. And I was worn out.
Yeah.
But I realized that as long as I do my own stuff first, then everybody else is getting served as well. And that seems a little backwards, but it's not. That, I think that if we become blocked, we become angry, and angry editors are not helpful for anybody. So I think it's one of those oxygen mask things that you've got to take care of what is a priority in your life, in your daily grind, before you can really take on somebody else's issues. And that was a hard lesson learned, because I want to serve my clients, of course, with the best that I have, but it's not the best that I have if I'm not getting out my own stuff.
Right.
And now that's become part of modeling the process of saying, you too can make a habit and a weekly accountability, and a weekly schedule and accountability process that will move the needle down the line. And that's been probably the biggest way that I've been able to help people, is to say that I know how to do it. And it's not a hard process once you actually sit down to do it. It's just an intimidating process.
It is. Good. So now that
And we get in our own way.
Talk more about that. How do we get in our own way?
I think a lot of it is mindset and thinking about, usually I find with people, it's time, worth, or money. And they perceive that they don't have enough time. They perceive that the money is going to be too much or too expensive for their hobby, and their hobby is delegated to frivolity, and that the creative process is not a serious one, and therefore it doesn't merit the time and money put into it. And so it's a vicious cycle that keeps feeding itself. And so the first thing I try to do with people is determine the worth, and why the client thinks that this work is worth putting out into the world, and going from there, because it has to start with you, and it has to start with your belief in the project, or it really will never get done. We can fiddle around with stuff all the time, but unless you have a vision in mind and an end goal, there's nothing to work toward. So I think people get in their own way a lot of times by downplaying the worth of what they're doing, mostly, and then using time and money as excuses to sort of uphold that belief that the project is not worthwhile for whatever reason. It may just be that we're the ones doing it. We don't think it's worthwhile because we don't know who we are, and who we are to say the thing. But I'm struggling with that mental process in another project, but the answer is, if not you, then who? So if you're not willing to pass that responsibility off, then you have to take it. And taking it is a whole other animal. But I think that's, it's a mental game as much as it is a work, because you have to believe in the worth to even put the work into it. Even if you think it's just a hobby or a frivolous pursuit, something makes you want to put time toward it. And that, I think, is worth enough. I think we have to be the ones that call our own work worthy first before we can expect anybody else to do it.
I agree with that. And I feel like part of what you do when you sit down with someone and they become your client, and you help them with their scheduling and help them with their project, because you are also taking them seriously. It adds validity to what they have deemed in their own mind as frivolity. You're like another person coming by going, there is worth. And just having that validation helps people go, well, yeah, Lindsay says so. And so it's powerful. And having someone else walk through and go, okay, let's make a game plan, and let's figure out where you're going to fit this game plan in your life and make it realistic. Just having a coach to do that is It's very powerful.
I think so. I think, and I honestly don't know how people do it without that encouragement, really. You know, not necessarily without a coach, but without somebody whispering against the imposter syndrome,
Yes.
all the time.
Yes, I agree. So now that you've got your book out, what are you going to do to celebrate?
Well, I am having a launch party next Thursday, November 6th at Urban Foxes in Jackson. And so I'm so excited about that. We're going to have music, they have pie. We're going to do a reading and a signing, and that's going to be my kind of party for it, is that, I did a thing and it's exciting. Come celebrate.
So what is
Urban Foxes is a small coffee shop and bakery in Jackson. So it has coffee, it has adult beverages, it has pie, they have cake, they have pastries, they have everything, and they also have the t-shirts and the coffee and the other accessories that you can buy too. So it is a true coffee house.
How fitting to have it there.
Yes.
I love it.
I'm
Well,
very excited about it.
If people want to come, do they need to RSVP or can they just show up or?
They can just show up. If they want to reserve copies, it would be helpful to RSVP, but that's just my email, lindsayewing@gmail. I have limited number of copies I'm bringing, but if anybody wants copies, they probably need to RSVP. But otherwise, come one, come all.
Yay.
And celebrate. The more the merrier.
Well, so my last question, if you will you tell us what is next on your plate?
I have a draft that's about 15,000 words right now that I plan to revisit in April to bump it up to 50K, the 50K mark. That's my plan anyway. And it is, I think calling it a mystery is it's not like a who done it, but it's got a mysterious element to it. So I think that it will be a little different than the Daily Grind, but also about people, because all my books are about people and their relationships, and maybe if there's a broader implication, what their actions and reactions mean for life in general, choices and decisions and even just thought processes. How do they affect what happens? So it's a little bit more, there's a mystery at the heart of it, and then of course the person that's trying to figure out the mystery and learning about the person at the center of the mystery at the same time. So it's called All Saints Day.
I love it. All right. Well, it's always fun to know what our writers are working on next.
Yeah.
Well, do you have anything else you'd like to say about the Daily Grind or like people to know before we wrap up?
Read it, enjoy it, review it. That always helps. And yeah, I guess that's it. I just hope that it's a good, I think it's a good cozy read. So it's a good fall book, good coffee book, So I think, and I want it to be an escape and an entertainment too. So I hope it is all those things.
Very fun. All right. Well, thank you for letting me interview you today.
Yes, thank you so much.
There we go. How we doing? I'm a little late. Sorry. Where did I leave off? Congrats on the release. Thank you. We'll just do that. Night party. And yes, definitely, if you're not going to be at Urban Foxes on Thursday night, definitely have pie in memoriam. This is amazing. I'm excited about that. Fab. And then mysterious about my new project. Yes, 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 yes. Oh, thank you, Phoenix. That's so kind. That's amazing. Oh, thank you, Morningstar. Cozy Fall Book. Yes, indeed. Thank you, Julie. Thank you. Thank you so much. I enjoy talking about the creative process quite a bit. So I'm super excited. So yeah, set a timer and take a nap and then you fall asleep. Yep, I gotcha. Hey, Melissa, welcome back. Super glad to have you. Yeah, love your thoughts on the interview. That'd be great. You must have needed it for sure. Okay, how nice of you to take such good care of your body. Yes, indeed. At Melissa. Speaking of self-care and local hangouts, excellent. I like both those things. Friends gathering at a local hangout, and I'm going to be heading out there soon, but not before celebrating a bit more. Yay! Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. Yeah, I'm not asking anybody to drive. It's a bit of a drive for me, and I don't want to. This is why we're doing this virtually too. So, thank you, Morningstar. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so excited about it. So, if you haven't bought a copy, buy a copy. If you haven't reviewed it, please review it on Amazon and Goodreads. I don't think it has a Goodreads review yet. Let me just. All right, here's the this is the Kindle Unlimited version, which is free for now for a while. So definitely new comments. Yes. This is the Yes, we get to celebrate together even through the distance. Absolutely. So this is the Kindle version of the book. Link works. Excellent, excellent, excellent. That should take you to the free Kindle Unlimited, which is Please Read. And then I'm going to take you to my books on Goodreads. Maybe my profile. There's some place that has all three books. Anyway, review it on Goodreads. Please, 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 please. That'd be amazing. Kink. Link. Hi, Katrina's still with us. We're awake. Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, so please get through as many pages as you can on Kindle Unlimited. That's going to be a limited time deal, so you can get it for free. But I just want you to read as many pages as you can because I get paid by the page. So while it's on Kindle Unlimited, please do that. So Kink, Link, some of us write romance and it's okay. Oh, good. The thing fixed itself. I'm so excited. Oh my gosh, I can't. That was a car alarm that's been going off all weekend. So here is also a link to my website, which is a link to all 3 novels and getting signed copies. So I have bought copies in advance of the release. So if you need signed copies direct from me, that link works too. Fab. All right, I'm going to be quiet now. I think we are going to do a long sprint. So if there's any catch up we need to do, we need to do it now. But I think we'll do a sprint to the top of the hour again. So I'm going to go ahead and put that. And I don't have anything else to work on tonight. So it's not true. I don't have anything else to present to you tonight. So if you have questions, I have answers. If you guys want to work, we have 50 minutes on the clock. Phoenix is heading out. That's fantastic. Thank you for being here. I'm so glad that you have a friend gathering to go. Stop that. To go to. I'm so excited for you for that. So be sure to tell them about my book and share the link. Let's see, how do I do? Can I do visual effects? Can I do confetti? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe not. I love confetti and already shared my book with him. Look at you being on top of things. I love it. All right, let's make sure. Yeah, I'm not going over time. Super, super duper duper appreciate you guys being here tonight. Oops, something just got unplugged. Hold on. I think it was just the computer. In which case, it'll be fine. But excellent. Okay. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you for helping me celebrate the release. I so appreciate you being here. We're going to do a quick top of the hour sprint. So 50 minutes, 50 minutes. And I will check in with you at the top of the hour. And then we'll check in again next week. All right. Happy sprinting or socializing or sewing or whatever it is you're doing. But if you're doing a project, if you came here for a project, this is the time to do it. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the stream because we are normally a lot quieter here and have a lot less going on. But, you know, it is launch week. So super excited. And super excited to see you Thursday at Urban Foxes in Jackson. It's on North Street. Google Urban Foxes, Jackson, Mississippi. It's amazing. So super. Thank you for gathering it, Tweet, and for a great time. Thank you so much. All right. Amazing. All right. I'm going to be quiet for a minute. Let you guys work. I will see you at 8. Have a great sprint. Okay, that's 8 o'clock. How we doing? How we did? Did you enjoy it? What's the news? Let's make a plan for next week. It'll be November 11th, and we'll do regular sprints. But thank you so much for being here for the launch. I hope I'll see you Thursday night too. Oops. Thank you, Katrina. Thank you for being here. I'll see you Thursday, or at least send a book your way. Thanks so much. So much done. Great, Julie. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right. Well, I believe we're meeting next week. No problem. Oops, wrong thing. We're not meeting Thanksgiving week, Christmas week, or New Year's week, but the rest of the stream should be scheduled. So wherever you get your notifications, you can find them for the rest of the year. Oh, fine. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks for being here. I'm so excited you could be here. That's so fun for me. So thanks very much. I so appreciate it. See you next Tuesday, same time, same station. We'll get some work done and make plans for the rest of the year. On December 1st is the Creative Collective. So if you're not a part of that, figure out, email me. There we go. If you're heading to the launch party Thursday night and you need copies, email me. Anyway, check out my Instagram and Instagram posts that I'm tagged in to see all the details for the launch party. I will see you Thursday. And if not there, then on the channel next Tuesday. Thanks so much for being here. Thank you for your support. Thank you, Jaleesa. See you later. Have a great night.